Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our suit reviews. Today's review is going to be a double review of an original and a replica of Amina Hassan. This one is design number 1002. Now I have done in-depth reviews on the Mina Hassan replicas. I'm going to be showing you an original versus the replica, and then you can make the difference comparisons yourself and really decide on what is the difference and which one to go for if you would like to purchase either of the suits. Okay, so we're gonna go to the original first, and I'm gonna give you an in-depth description of the original. It's on a pure chiffon. The colors, both replica and the original, are similar. Now we're gonna go same as, so this is the sleeve on original, and then you have the sleeves of the replica here. Now the color combination, there is a slight bit of a variation. The color on the replica is actually a little bit brighter than a more sort of like a richer color than the original. Embroidery wise, there isn't really much of a difference. It's done in a similar technique where the outline of the embroidery is done with a metallic thread and thread embroidery in between. The colors used in the embroidery are almost identical. A slightly richer color on the replica, and probably the slight bit of quality is a little bit higher on the original. Not a major difference. Anyway, that's the sleeves. This has two sleeves that are separated, whereas with the original replica they are attached on part of the dress. The fabric, like I said, this is crinkle georgette and this is chiffon. So if we're looking at the wearing of the fabrics, then I would say that the chiffon is more hard wearing than the crinkle georgette. Crinkle georgette is very, very beautiful, but it does have slight bit of downfalls, which I will point out as we go along. Okay, so that's the sleeves. Then the next part is, I'll just quickly give you the guidelines on the salwar. The salwars, again, the biggest difference is one, the fabric, and then the slight bit of color variation. With the replica, it's a richer color, and with the original, it's a slightly lighter color. This is on grape fabric, and obviously it's more pure. So, but the wear and tear on this is marginally less compared to what it is on the cheaper version. Okay, and so that's the two versions of the salwars. Then we have dupattas. With the replicas, they're actually a lot more lightweight. This is also on a crinkle type of a georgette. To be honest, I prefer the dupatta on this than I do to this. This is also crinkle georgette, but it's a lot more finer. It's more of the pure than what this is. Probably this is also pure, but this has got a slight bit of a mixture. So the dupattas are quite similar. The inside of the dupatta is plain in comparison to this. This has a single border on one side and a double border on the other side. Now the worst part on this is that the dupatta is very, very heavy, and for the young girl that I'm making this, I would suggest taking one of these borders off and leaving just a single border. The double border is just a little bit too heavy, and I think she would have problems carrying that off. Now that's on the original. On the replica, the border is single border on either sides. And then with the replicas, the actual edges are done, whereas the original, the edges are not done on the dupatta. Now, the dress itself, this is the Kameez portion, and this is the original. Now what it has is a fairly shortish Kameez, and it has a border. This is the border on a chiffon that's embroidered, and that has to be cut worked and attached onto the dress, depending on the length required. And now on the replica, what we have is we have the exact same embroidery as the original, but the border is also exactly, actually is in some ways is a little bit better quality, but it's pre-attached on, so you don't need to worry about attaching this on, and this is actually the replica. Otherwise, you know what, there is hardly any difference. And now the only other major difference is the back of this dress is plain, whereas with the original there is embroidery on the back too. So really what you're paying for the bulk of the money is for the embroidered backline, because apart from that everything else is the same. Now the trousers, the trouser made with this particular suit is tulip salwar. Unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, the customer has requested for a trouser to be made out of this. So I will be making both the suits. I will make a tulip salwar with the replica, and I will make the original as a trouser, and then we have this embroidery that I will be attaching on the bottom hemline of the trouser. So that is a comparison, replica versus an original, and I will await to upload both the fully completed garments, and I will let you be the verdict for which is the better. In comparison, price wise, you are paying £30 for a mina hassan replica, and you are paying something like £120 for an original. It's in Pakistan, these are retailing at 14,500 rupees, which is what the customer has paid for this particular suit. Now my choice would very quickly go towards the replica, because the way we are, I think the way we wear clothes, we don't tend to long-term wear on. If I had something which was so pricey and such a delicate fabric, I would be very cautious on just how and when I wore that. Whereas having something like this replica, I wouldn't mind wearing it, you know, over and over again and to any occasion, and when I'm fed up with it, I would discard it and purchase another replica. So I think the way of the world is that yes, I think we wear them, the originals, just for the sake of name only, because I really don't see a heck of a difference in between them. Embroidery wise, they're equal. Quality wise, wear and tear, you would get far more wear from this than you would with the original. So that's my verdict on the two suits. I will inshallah share with you how we managed to make and achieve a result with these. I will be making a tulip salwar versus the trouser, and then inshallah I will let you be the verdict on them. So Wednesday morning, a day to start any project, and inshallah, hopefully these projects will not take too long to complete, as it's a good sign to start. So take care. I will join me again soon, and oh yes, one point I did forget to mention was, even though they've charged an arm and leg for this suit, one thing that they've forgotten to send was a lining. So comparison to that, with the replica, the lining was supplied, and with the original, even though the price was costly, there was a missing lining. So unfortunately, sometimes even the companies may charge a fortune for the suits. They actually, can do you over, especially when it's coming from a far distance. So always bear in mind, question if you have to, and send them an email, ask, request that is such and such supplied, because if it's not, then for a lot of people in Western countries, it's very difficult to get a color match, and you may struggle. It's a lot easier for someone like in Pakistan or India, or even here in the UK, because we've got so many shops around that we can easily purchase linings and so on. But now if I was to sew that, and since the lining is not being supplied with it, I would have serious repercussions. I will be using the lining from the replica to go with that, because the color wise they are identical. But sadly, that's one thing that to bear in mind, that sometimes these pieces can end up being missing unchecked. So do question, and make this a notice prior to the purchase. I've cut this kameez out. It's quite a small kameez compared to some of the ones that you've seen me cut, because it's quite a small size. You really need these quite well fitted. Now this is the original, and what I'm going to say about the original, I was once a comment was made on one of the videos. I had actually, somebody had unjustly did something to someone where they'd sold some item of garment, and it was actually a wedding lehenga, and they'd sort of deceived the buyer, and the buyer was a friend of mine. She'd come to me and complained. Now I had actually emailed the company and tried to get the matter cleared up. It might have been a video that you may have seen. It was regarding a company in Pakistan who do ready-made clothing, and so I had criticized them for selling a lousy garment which I'd shown on video, and then later on, it's a long story. What had happened later on was that they wrote to me. I took down the video after a while, and but it got them a lot of negative feedback. And really the aim was to try and get them to push them to do justice to the injustice that they'd done. But instead of actually doing the justice, they wrote back to me and they said, you went and criticized our garment. You don't even leave the best of the designers. So they'd actually criticized me for criticizing some designer. And the designer that I'd criticized was Sana Safinaz, where one of her suits, it was an original which I did, and it was on a loan, and the loan had a very bad bias in the print. And a lot of the time, when you're selling garments that are so expensive, these things should be looked at, because the customer is unaware, and really it's the person who's sewing it who becomes aware of these things. But the designers take that challenge on, because when they're selling something so good, they should look or hire someone to look at the manufacturing that is up to scratch. So this is a mina hassan original, and okay, so what's my complaint against this one? Well, basically, when you get embroidery done on a fabric, it's either on a cross grain or it's on a straight fabric. Now here, my disappointment in this is that they have gone partially cross grain and partially against the grain. Okay, so what you see on the back one, this is on a chiffon, this is a crinkle georgette, so it's quite obvious on this. The fall on this is right, this is how it should be. But then when they've gone and made the done the embroidery on the front panel, what they've done is they've gone across the grain. So basically what you've got is the georgette, crinkle georgette, which goes along this direction on the one panel, and then you've got it going on the opposite direction on the other panel, and that sometimes creates problems when a dress is being worn. So If it's quite a small size, you tend to carry it off. If it's a large size, then it does present a problem. So if you're buying these quite expensive garments, then be wary of the fact that these are one daman is against the grain and one is across the grain, and that can have repercussions on especially sizes where the sizes are large sizes. Okay, so we're having to make do with whatever we've got. This is the front daman of the kameez. I have cut it to almost to size. I have made it quite wide because I am going to, it's quite a small size, it's a size 8 probably. Now the border trim, this is the border trim, and I've actually, this is supplied in plentiful, so I will be applying this on the front and the back. Now another thing with this is now is the kameez are quite short, and basically it is going to take I might actually just make this go higher, because if I take it lower, what's going to happen is the kameez is going to come out too long, and I don't think she's going to want the kameez too long. So what I'll do is I'll go in slightly deeper at the top. I'll actually do this right now. I don't know, going from such a long kameez to short kameez, it's actually makes you just a little bit cautious. I think it's slightly difficult to take that plunge at the moment. It's still a little bit difficult because we're still in early days off. But I am going to take that much off from the top. So really that was just a little bit of a minor sideline complaint. Now I will attach the border on and cut the lining. I've cut the sleeves and so on, and then basically do the neckline and stuff. And then we're going to go on to cutting the trouser. Let's have a look. Fabric, there we go. Okay, so some things become a must if you want to wear designer clothes. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to do stuff like this. Now, the thing that's a must is like something like a tool like this. You would have seen me using this in several videos. In the previous video, I did a demonstration of cutting this out on a chiffon fabric, which was quite difficult. Now on organza, this is a lot easier, because organza burns a lot easier than a pure chiffon does. So again, what we need to do is make sure that the tool is really warmed up. It will take a few minutes to warm up, and then once it's warmed up, you need to lay a piece of wood or something underneath and basically cut around so that it stops any fraying or anything. And once we've done that, we'll attach this insert onto the trouser piece. Now I will be requiring, I'll do both the things at once, so we're saving on time. The other portion to this is the chiffon, which is for the daman, so I'll just make that ready as well, and then you can do both of them at once. Now this is on organza, so like I mentioned, organza is a lot easier to burn than chiffon is. The tool needs to be warm. Now you can, where there's a thread, it becomes a little bit more difficult. It normally burns and it just curls up. I think it's still not hot enough. So there's like a thread there. Thread is generally difficult to burn out. Now you can see that this is like moving away as we're going along. Compared to the chiffon, the pure silk chiffon, that was like a silk. If you tried burning pure silk, you'll find it more difficult than a synthetic fibre. So these are all handy tools. So if you're like a professional machinist who does this for a living, then I can't really emphasize how important tools like this are. I mentioned in the previous video that I was at a market quite recently, and there was some tailors there who do tailoring for people, and he had a lighter in his hand and he was burning the edges. And how risky is that? That's sheer stupidity, doing something like that. And I was like tempted to say to him, brother, you know what, these tools are that expensive. Since you do this for a living, it's really an essential investment. I remember once upon a time warming the edge of a knife and making it really, really hot and doing the same thing. It can be done. If you're going to do it occasionally, then I think do go along that route. But if it's something that you're into your designer clothes, and let me tell you, a lot of the designer clothes do come with necklines and stuff, that you do need something like this to finish them off with. And you know what, a good finish is very, very important. If you have the nicest of garments and sewn wrong, or the fitting is not good, or the application is not good, then you can have a wasted garment. So that's basically the bottom of the trouser. The next step I'm going to show you, I'm going to finish off the border for the kameez as well. One side I'm going to have to take both sides off, because one side is for the hemline and one side is for... Now there's no way you can do this type of, you know, finishing without these tools, and that's all part of the package. That if you want clothes like this, and if you want to, there's no point in buying something for £120 and then having a lousy job done on it, on the sewing, because you know what, it's all down to the sewing. And in the case of selling, the sellers of these suits actually get away with hiring the models and the photos. Now unfortunately we're no models, and we don't have we're not wearing the clothes for the sake of photo shoots, but we're wearing to be scrutinized by people who see us. Now what you got to remember is, majority of the time when models wear clothes, they are going to wear them and chuck them. They're somebody else's clothes. They're going to momentarily wear them, get the best look out from them, keep it as a memory maybe, sell it to others, but they're never going to wear it themselves. What you got to remember is, you're going to invest in these suits, you're going to pay your good money, and there is another truth in this, that the models are being paid to wear it, whereas you're paying someone else to buy the clothes and to wear them. So remember that one as well. They are selling their looks and their body to somebody to wear their clothes and to really make a sale for someone else. So, and then for us, we're the opposite. We pay someone else and buy the clothes, and then we're going to wear them long term. We're not going to wear them for the sake of just wearing them for a photo shoot, or perhaps to a one wedding function. really, you got to do justice to what you're making or what you're wearing. I think that's a very important point that we don't bear in mind when we buy clothes. That, you know what, this model that's wearing it, is she wearing it because she chose to wear it, or is she wearing it because she's hired to wear it? Well, obviously we know the answer to that. She's hired to wear it. Somebody's paying her to wear that suit, so obviously she's gotta. And then we wear it because we paid a lot of money. Sad world, isn't it? And then you know what's worse than that is we pay people to wear their name. And then we show off by it. Oh, this is by such and such. Well, you know what? So what? Design it yourself and wear it and show off and say, this is by me. I designed this. You know, I recently did my house up and I like showing off with the fact that, oh, I made the sofa covers, I made the curtains, I made the... And you know what the best thing is? Not because I made them. The best thing is that I made them and I saved loads of money. And I feel proud of the fact that, you know what, other people buy stuff like this and spend a fortune. And me, I make do with a little bit of money, and I actually do a better job than somebody spending a lot of money and getting maybe similar results. So right, that's already looking a lot better. Anyway, this is original. Now the good thing is, you know, with the replicas, this is already done. Alright, I am going to have to love you and leave you. I will talk to my daughter. Hello, Halima. How are you? Just hold on, let me turn